everybody for that could attend in person, everybody participating virtually. Thank you and good morning. First item on the agenda is Stephanie with the 201 Facilities Planning Amendment.
Good morning, everyone. Don't have much to present other than the fact that in the packet, there is a general policy board resolution amending the 208 plan to accept the newer 201 facility planning area boundary for the Meander 201 facility planning area. Didn't get any comments, no feedback, so it went smoothly, and that resolution is in front for those to pass. I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Steph. Next is Ohio Public Works Commission discussion with Ed.
Mr. Chairman. Morning, everyone. Morning. This is an update for the round 37 funding for District 6. Started this process back in the summer. 57 pre-applications were submitted at the end of August. Processed that information into the giant scoring spreadsheet. The District 6 committee just met this week to start assigning points to some of the scoring criteria. They will meet again on October 18th to assign regional significance points. They will meet on November 1st to confirm the points and have a small government meeting. So far, we have, of the 57 projects submitted, the ask for grant total is a little over $11.8 million. Loan ask is almost 1.6 million. In our allocation, our grant allocation is a little over $7.6 million. Now, if you take all 57 projects, this was interesting. All 57 projects, the total project cost for all those projects is almost $36.5 million. Now, of course, we're not going to be able to fund all those, but that's a heck of a lot of money for projects. After all our meetings this fall, the final applications will be due December 16th. Those are going to be submitted electronically. That was new last year. So this is going to be our second year submitting the final applications electronically. Anybody have any questions? You can contact me if you want to be on my email list. I can add you. I send out these project tables all the time. So, any questions?
Since the final apps are a little different now, their portal, when are the final apps due in Columbus?
December 16th. Yes. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks, sir. Okay, next, Kathy's going to give us an update on the Appalachian Regional Commission fiscal year 23.
Okay, well, we've had a lot going on in the Appalachian program, so I wanted to take this time to give you a few updates of what we have coming forward. First of all, our full applications, we are moving to an electronic format. So Ed, we're 1 year behind you, but we're very excited. This year, the full applications are in a program called Salesforce. It is very user-friendly. So we are really glad to have that opportunity. So the 10 projects that were selected through the competitive process and approved by the TAC and General Policy Board in Resolution 13 of 2022 will be coming forward, and we'll be holding our annual workshop with the applicants. That is going to take place on October 21st, with full applications being due on November 18th. So then the second items I'd like to talk with you about today are some funding opportunities through the Appalachian Program. And you've probably heard us talk quite a bit about the Appalachian Community Grant Program. That is the $500 million allocation that was passed in House Bill 377. They are ARPA dollars, so they are federal dollars. And we are going to implement that through 2 phases in 3 buckets. The 3 buckets are our 3 areas of priority, and that's going to be through restoring our downtowns or our downtown revitalization, community health, as well as our local workforce. And I'm very happy to say that yesterday was the Appalachia Forward Conference that was held in Portsmouth, Ohio. And the focus was on this program. So it was put on between Ohio University, the 4 local development districts, as well as John Kerry from the Governor's Office of Appalachia and Linda Mihalik from the Ohio Department of Development. I would like to say that, yes, we are all holding our breath and waiting for the guidance. The final guidance is not available, but I can just refresh the background of House Bill 377 so we can continue to begin to have some projects coming forward for our region. The emphasis on this program is regional and transformation and planning. That was repeated at the conference. We really do not want any missed opportunities. So although I know we're anxious to get out there and get an implementation grant, please take the time to do your planning on this. We're looking for projects that are regional, transformational, sustainable. They have a public-private partnership and are evidence-based. One thing I can tell you the program is not for, and that is for infrastructure projects such as water, sewer, and broadband. The legislature felt that, there's lots of funding opportunities out there. So this is not a fit for that type of a project. We also are not really interested in capital improvement projects such as gazebos, sidewalks, things of that nature. But what we are looking at are the projects. Well, let me back up. For our planning grants, there's 50 million available, and that is for grant writing, research, and development. 50 million will be available for that. Then the implementation grants. Now that's going to be focusing on like our downtowns. So connecting our outdoor trails and recreation, arts and culture. And while I was in Portsmouth, I took the opportunity. We had some breakout sessions, and they have, of course, they're right there by the Ohio River. They have this huge flood wall that protects the city. Well, instead of making it a necessary eyesore, they did some beautiful art murals. It is the largest art mural in the world done by a single artist, and it starts way back from when our country was being founded on up to present day. There was also information about the Underground Railroad. And while I was there was many people coming to the wall to view it, and some were local, but many were from outside the area. So again, it is a tourist income generator. That's the type of thing that we could be looking at as a potential element of this funding. We're also looking for under downtown revitalization can be improving access to telemed. Why the legislators connected those together, I don't really know, but that's in there. Also with improving community health. Those are projects that could be school or community based that are helping individuals have improved mental and physical health. Also, we have an issue with substance use disorder within the Appalachian region. This money can be used for that as well. And then also for rebuilding our workforce. These are things we're looking for in a public-private partnership for training such as technical, educational, and clinical. We're not looking to be just a workforce training program. It's really an element to attract the workforce so that they continue to have the tools they need to secure high-paying jobs, but then also they want to live and stay within our region. So these projects should be visible intangible and recognizable to the region. It will be a competitive process. There are no allocations per county on the implementation grants, but one of the things that came from our conference yesterday is on the planning grants, there may be a maximum allocation for each county that has not been determined yet. But as far as the implementation grants, your minimum request should be $1 million and there is no maximum. There is also no match. However, we're looking for skin in the game. So really to be competitive, there should be some type of match. The projects will all need to be approved by the controlling board in order to be successful. And then as far as our timeline goes, since they are ARPA dollars, they are tied through that legislation, and all projects must be approved by December of 2024, and the project must be completed by December of 2026. And in our world of federal criteria, that is a pretty fast timeline considering this $500 million and no maximum request. But this is a once in a lifetime investment within the Appalachian region. So we will work with our communities and make sure that the allocation is fully utilized for the projects in which they are intended. As that information and for the NOFO, the guidance comes forward, Eastgate will hold a workshop for you. One workshop will be here in person or virtual. We will be recording it. So that way, all three of our counties and communities that are in our district will be able to view and get the information all at the same time. We're anticipating there will be 3 rounds of funding, and the first round, as they say, is soon. I do not have a date on soon. We're all kind of holding our breath there. However, as per the conference yesterday, Julia Hinton did share with us, she is our chief of staff through the governor's office of Appalachia. She said that the second round we really would look for in October of next year. Okay, so that takes care of the Appalachian Community Grant funding. Now I'd like to talk about a second opportunity, which is what we call ARISE. And that is the Appalachian Regional Initiative to Support Stronger Economies. This is a $73.5 million initiative. It is a multi-state collaborative in which we are looking for regional economic collaborative projects to assist the bi-state or multi-state region. There will be $10 million allocated for planning in this program. Your maximum request on planning grants is $500,000. And the remaining will be for implementation grants of $63.5 million. And there's no cap on that request this time. We're looking for, again, the common theme, regional and transformational projects. There's going to be a focus on planning on this one as well. And projects need to demonstrate collaboration among all partners. We want to leverage our regional resources, and it will be outcome driven. Now, there is no deadline on this program. It is a rolling date. So applicants who would be interested in that, you need to complete what we call a 4-page concept paper. And in that paper, it's an electronic version available online. And the applicant would need to tell us what is your project, what is your service area, and who are your partners, and some basic information. The ARC office in DC will be evaluating those, and then if successful, the applicant will be sent an email to start the online process for the full application. And you can see too, some of this information, well, this information is available on the Eastgate website. We have a toolkit for you that will tell you about the program. There's also requests for proposals. If you have an interest in this, it must be at least 2 states involved. They do not have to be contiguous though. So that was one thing that came out of the workshop. The workshop was also recorded. So if you're interested in that, we can make sure you get a copy of the recording as well. That was put on by the folks at the ARC DC office. But applicants are also required to notify their state program manager. And I would also encourage you to contact Eastgate as your local development district so we can provide assistance for you on making sure that that application is a strong one for you. Then the last item I have is our annual states conference. It is going to be held in Flintstone, Maryland. Justin and I will be attending. That's October 17th through the 19th. And our focus is connection and collaboration. The conference is full, so they have really good attendance. This creates the policies that we'll be following for the next year. So we're going to be focusing on creating and expanding our workforce. We're also going to talk about growing sectors such as outdoor recreation, developing entrepreneurs, and building leadership and community capacity. So as you can see, there's a lot going on in the ARC. It's a great time to be a part of the Appalachian Program. We're very fortunate to have the support of our state legislators with $500 million and the continued support in DC with our multiple funding sources, as well as our regular allocation with those 10 projects moving forward. So that is what I have for you today. I'll be happy to address any questions.
Some time frame on the application for the program.
For the Appalachian Community Grant that we are waiting for, we're hoping to have news quote soon. But until then, I do not have a date.
You anticipate like a process.
In general, there's a, you know what, I just can't say because I don't know. The guidance is not out at this time and I don't want to speculate for you. I will say typically there is like a pre-app and then invited to the full application, but I don't want to preempt our legislators and we'll have to see what they decide.
And I just want to add, I think that when the guidelines do come out, Eastgate with Kathy's leadership will put on a workshop for all our communities to kind of go over everything we know and try to assist our communities. And I do want to make a comment. Anybody who wants to apply for any of these ARC funding opportunities, please, I strongly encourage you to coordinate it through Eastgate and Kathy. We get every now and then at some of our programs, and not just ARC, we get an outlier where they put in and nobody here knew about it. It takes about an hour to come back to us and say, how can they didn't coordinate through Eastgate? We have a great, strong relationship with John Kerry, the governor's office of Appalachia, Julia, all the people were here to help the community. So I'd encourage you to let Eastgate be part of it, oversee it, take a look at it and help you with your application to make a strong application. Because we're trying to get the funding back here as much funding as we can. And please lean on us for assistance.
Yes.
At the conference yesterday, they mentioned that the planning grant was going to be capped at $250,000 per county. Is that a number that's could change based on the guidance?
That's why I said implementation grants have no cap. But yes, you are absolutely correct. There was discussion that there would be a maximum of $250,000 per county for planning grant requests. However, Julia did further mention that that is at the discretion of the Director of Governor's Office of Appalachia. So if our county, say Mahoning County or Trumbull County, even Ashtabula, would have multiple requests that exceed that 250,000 benchmark, it would be considered on a case-by-case basis. However, again, my disclaimer, the guidance is not finalized, but you're absolutely right that it is being discussed and I wouldn't be surprised if that is included in the NOFA when it comes out. Thank you for listening to the conference. Hunter.
On the ARISE program, when we talk about regional, is that the region being the Eastgate region or is the region being a bi-state region? What's your sense of
Yes, thank you for asking for clarification on that. By region, we mean it must be a multi-state region. It's not local development district to local development district.
But your appeal area is multi-state to begin with, right?
Yeah. Well, that's a bi-state. Yeah, that's the language Murda speaks better than I do.
Multi-state or bi-state? I guess I'm asking To what degree does the Arise program, is this something we should pay attention to, or is it for somebody else?
So I think I could jump in. Eastgate's working with our partners in Western PA to possibly put a multi-state application together for both, really, we consider that our region, but it's not our region. Our MPO region is right here. And there's a border wall to state line. We gotta knock that down. We work closely with our partners again in Western PA. We're looking at seeing how we can put a multi-state application together for the both states acting as a region.
And what sort of initiatives cross those lines?
Well, I think that we're just having preliminary discussions. We're talking about repopulation, possibly housing. Those are all things that have come up. But when you're taking a look at, a pot of money that maxes out at $10 million, how do we spread that out and how do we make a difference? They have different challenges than we have, but in preliminary discussions, we kind of agreed that a repopulation and housing and cross the lines with cultural differences, trying to continue to chase the repopulation effort. That seemed to be a common theme with them. So we're really in the preliminary stages, but we're looking at putting an application for something like that. I do believe when we talk about that program, that is more of a Eastgate putting in with our partners. It's not a City of Youngstown or Liberty Township initiative, but the others really fall under those types of initiative. Arise is more of an MPO, work with other MPOs.
Yeah, and if I could just add to that too, because I was participated in the Arise workshop. And one of the things that Karen Fabiano had explained, the minimum criteria for Arise, you could have one county in one state and one county in another state, and that is qualifying. However, it's not a strong, that would not be a strong project. They really want to see a larger geographic region. And also another thing is it does not have to be contiguous. So you could be partnering with, you could partner with West Virginia, Pennsylvania, New York. Our service areas don't have to touch as long as, like you were talking about housing, that is a common element in the three. So if you have some ideas on that, please reach out, let us know. We're here to help you strengthen your applications. We can also help convene across our neighbors, across the other states, across the other local development districts to help you have a strong application. All right then. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Great, Kathy. Thank you. A lot of good information. Okay, next, Justin and Eric are going to preview us on the 2022 annual conference. Justin.
Right. So I think we've mentioned it at a previous meeting. Earlier this year, Eric and I put in a proposal for this year's AMPO annual conference. So AMPO is the Association of Metropolitan Planning Organizations. They're a national organization of agencies just like us, other MPOs across the country that do very similar work and work in similar spaces. So it's an opportunity for us to engage with other people, share learning, but it's something where, we want to make sure that we're giving to the organization and sharing what we're doing here and spreading the knowledge. So last year, Jeff and I gave a presentation at this conference, and I believe Eric was on the job for maybe a week before he came down with us to kind of get a sense of it all. But we wanted to give an opportunity for us to share with you all what we'll be talking about with all the other MPOs. So our presentation title is Public Participation, Art or Science, and it's centered around kind of our recent investments in inward focus on communications and how we're starting to establish a foundation of more consistent and strategic ways of disseminating information. So all of you know this, what is Eastgate, but the people we'll be talking to kind of need a little refresher for us to introduce ourselves to them. So we're going to go over kind of all our programs, what we do here, all the different sides of our agency, just real quickly, just to give people an idea of who we are. And then I'll pass it over to Eric quickly, and he'll go through what we'll talk about related to communications.
Morning, everybody. It's my first time speaking. I'm Eric Benson, the Digital Communications Coordinator for Eastgate. So for our communication strategy, we'll be going over our previous approach. How it used to be was individual staff would sort of talk to individual staff about getting stuff on social media, updating the website, stuff like this. There wasn't anyone dedicated to doing it. Everybody had a different job to do as well. So it was a little sporadic. It wasn't as efficient as it could be. So recognizing limitations of this, the agency wanted to establish more organized approach to communication. So they got together and they sort of figured out what they had been doing, what they wanted to do. The website maintenance, news posts, newsletters, which were a little more sporadic back then, our social media presence, event coverage, all stuff like that. And so basically just figured out what do we want to do, what do we like, what don't we like, how do we get to where we want to be. So Eastgate engaged EDG. Was it EDG?
Yes.
Yeah, EDG created about assembling a strategic communications plan. And one of the first sort of steps was to hire a communications specialist, someone whose job was just doing communications, which was how my position was created. That's how I came in here. And then once I got here, there was a big push to make sure that everybody knew when they have something, get it to me. I'll get it online. I'll get it on the website, put it in a newsletter, put it on social media, whatever they want to do with it. So there's a little more consistency with that now, a little more just organization to it, with everybody coming to me and not to one another, because before me, Justin would be doing it sometimes, Jeff would be doing it sometimes, Steven would be doing it sometimes. It was a little all over the place. So now there's a little more consistency to it, especially with being able to have someone who dedicates all their time to updating the website, doing newsletters, covering events, stuff like that. It takes the weight off of everybody else. As well, I'm sure most of you have gotten the emails. We send out news blasts when there's important dates coming up. I send out a lot for Kathy, for ARC, for upcoming application stuff. Hope that doesn't annoy you too much. We try to strike a balance. And then we are still looking at moving forward. What do we want to improve even more? I've been here about a year now, so what are we trying to improve, which personally trying to put a more consistent plan or policy in place for gathering information and news from staff is important. I think we do a pretty good job now, but I think becoming a little more efficient with it would be a great step forward. Something to make sure that we're staying on the ball at all times. In addition, moving forward, I've discussed this with Lisa and Jim about reestablishing the annual report. It'll look a little bit different than before. But really the idea is to reestablishing a consistent timeline for the annual report, probably to coincide with establishing our annual meeting, stuff like that. And then now we're back to the public.
Great job, Eric. First presentation. Nice to get that out of the way sometimes. So related to our public engagement conversation that we'll have at AMPO, a lot of it's going to center around the CAB. Obviously, we do public engagement for individual products, and that can vary based on kind of what's necessary, what format that takes, what kind of public engagement style necessitated is by those programs. But one of the things we did this year was what we call the 2022 CAB Census. So Jeff gave a presentation earlier in the year. It's kind of a refresher on the 2020 census, kind of a where have we come in the time since that happened. And after that, we figured, well, let's kind of take a survey of who we engage through our public engagement and get an idea of who we're actually communicating with, who we're sharing our information with, and who they represent, how representative is our engagement. So that's kind of what all this says. So we took this approach to it. You see age, race, and ethnic information, gender, education, employment, One thing you won't see in this list is income. We felt that was a little too personal. Wanted to kind of shy away from that, at least at this initial run. But there's some things that you could use as proxy in the data to get an idea of how representative. But I think the most important thing to see here is 59 total responses. That's not an enormous number, but still, like the first time of us doing this, there really wasn't a whole lot of like run up and push and drive to get people to respond. We kind of just wanted to gauge how people felt about participating in something like this. So a great response as far as I'm concerned. You'll see it's broken out. 47 people that aren't CAB board members responded, and then 12 of our board members participated in the survey. So going through some of the data, there's some interesting things to pick out. We have these age categories broken out. Under 18 would be a very challenging group of folks to capture through this engagement. So seeing a 0 there isn't too alarming, but obviously something that we should be mindful of when we're thinking about whose voices are influencing the work that we do. Maybe this turns into some consideration where we hold some event at a school and specifically target these folks. Since we're not getting those voices through our normal engagement, maybe we have to be more intentional if the situation arises or if the project necessitates it. The other big thing here is to notice our 65 and over category. A good representation there, a good deal more representative than the region's population as a whole. And that makes sense. Available time, available commitment, more interest in the subject matter. So no concerns with how that falls out, but just some things that we need to keep in mind as we're thinking about our public engagement. Looking at how our race and ethnic information break out, you can see board members, white or Caucasian, 83% reported self-identified through the board members, and our region is 83% according to the data. So pretty representative there. You can see our CAB in general is a little lower, people who self-identify as white or Caucasian, and we are slightly above the index for the region with the other racial categories, Black and African American, Hispanic, Latino, and multiracial answers. Looking at gender, the region is pretty closely split down the middle, 51% female, 49% male. Our CAB and our board skews slightly more male than female. So another thing that we'll need to keep in mind with the responses that we get for our public engagement. And education, this one I think is the most stark, where we kind of derivate from the regional population itself. You can see our board members, 100% of them have a bachelor's degree or higher, which I think tracks with the level of engagement and involvement that we ask of those folks. Folks with a higher education tend to be more likely to participate in that manner. So the data makes sense. But again, just as we want to keep being mindful about whose voices we're listening to, there is an education skew to our public engagement. The CAB in general tends to spread a little bit more, but still is less than the regional representation. In totality, employment, not a whole lot here that I think is important to pull out. I think this plays into the age breakdown too. You see quite a bit of retired folks, more than the regional representation, but I think taking into account the age data that we collected makes sense. Housing, we're pretty close to being representative between ownership and rental. Our board members skew a little bit more on the ownership side, but just a good data point to reference and to know that we have voices of folks that have experience in both situations. So we have some rental voices. And I think as the conversations around housing, I know Jim mentioned it for that multi-state idea that's being tossed around. We can feel confident in our engagement that we now have voices that represent both rentals and ownership. Same with disability. We are less than the regional representation, but we do still have voices from people who self-report their disability. So another good data point to see there. And veteran status. This is one that we kind of threw in there as something to just kind of be mindful of. I don't think it's necessarily something that we look at for our EJ analysis, but obviously just something good to track. You can see that our board members are way overrepresented for veteran status. Our CAB members are slightly more than the region representation as well, but good to see that we have some folks that self-report their veteran status participating in our programs. The last category we have here is language spoken at home. Our region is 94% English is the primary language, 6% report another language as the primary language spoken at home. We don't have any representation in our engagement currently, but we don't necessarily, I think, make that effort to make different languages available. So it's almost a kind of self-fulfilling type of situation there, to where we're not actively reaching out to those folks through ways that is easily accessible to them. So just another thing to consider, is we do public engagement, and if we identify an area that has a need for that, we can obviously connect with community groups that work in these spaces, and I think that helps us build relationships and better communicate. So last part here is what do we do with this? I think we talked through it in the dialogue. We're just using this information as a way to benchmark our engagement, to know where we're at, how good of a job we're doing, and just be mindful of things that we could do differently and how we can use this to better our communications and engagement. But that is the presentation we'll give. And, I went over that CAB census with the CAB itself a couple months ago, but obviously wanted to make sure that information was made available to the TAC, just so you're all aware of kind of the efforts that we're making on that side. And so anybody has any questions about what Eric and I will talk about next month, or later this month, I guess, at the AMPO conference. Great.
No questions. Thank you, Justin. Good job, Eric. Okay, next, Steven's up. He's going to discuss the much talked about Youngstown Smart 2 project.
Can't get away from it, right, Gary?
Talked about it in a good way.
Exactly.
Thank you.
And I'll start off, Justin. I'm going to nominate my daughter as the president of the Eastgate Kids CAB committee. We'll start reaching the 6-year-olds. But no, like Gary alluded to, sorry, I apologize for my voice in and out. The Youngstown Smart 2 network of projects is really kicking off. All this construction downtown is from that. We talked about that so many times over the years. It's exciting on our end to get to this point and to see this demolition, the construction. I'm sure on all of your end, it is very frustrating. So just wanted to give a quick update on kind of the process, where the project's at, kind of what to expect in the upcoming year or so. Probably sick of seeing road closed signs. So I wanted to just throw one more at you guys. Just a quick reminder, this is kind of these are the locations that we're hitting on. You see all these 7 streets on here. This is what was initially talked about. This is what's going on now. And you can see from this map, you might have noticed a few streets on there that are completed. Fifth Avenue was the big first one. Everybody dealt with the demolition there, the road being closed, construction. We got through it once. Fifth Avenue looks fantastic. Park Avenue as well, recently completed. Park Avenue looks great. Phelps Street from Federal down to the amphitheater. It looks really great. A great walking path, perfect for bikes, for families with strollers. Really kind of sets the tone for what the rest of these streets downtown can look like. Now those are completed, but we have these other 4 that are causing all of these issues for everyone driving. Chuck getting questions all day long from all the citizens, all the business owners. What's going on? This is affecting me. I can't stand this. He's probably getting a lot worse words than that. First one to talk about, Front Street. You can see it out our window. Take a look when you're on your way out the conference room. You can see Front Street. The construction there is really close to being done. You can see there, I mentioned that it's opening in phases.
Currently, there's some eastbound traffic that's open on the west side, west of Market Street. You'll start to see open eastbound on the east side of Market Street shortly. Both ways open, hopefully by Thanksgiving, but more likely this winter with substantial completion. You'll notice a big wide sidewalk there. If you remember back over the last 3-4 years, we talked about a big multi-use path. So that's what that is there. Multi-use path, get some bikes again, bikes, walking, strollers, skateboarding, scooters, all the above. I will put an asterisk out now. I should have said it before. I'll say it again. These are just best guesses, best estimates. Please do not hold anybody to completion by winter for Front Street or any of the other ones. The ones that you can hold everybody to is these are completed. We all see it. Those ones are great. Don't get locked into these too much. We all know that there's issues out there. There's issues with everything we run into. These are targets. These are best guesses. So other one, demo has been going on for quite a bit now. Commerce Street. It's great here where we're at. We're in this perfect location. If you just pick a side of the office, you can look out and you can see one of these streets that you want to see. So if you head over to this side of the office, this corner, jump into Ken's office if you want. Commerce Street, you can kind of see the construction going on there. Again, opening in phases throughout the winter. Majority of that is closed. We understand the frustrations, but should start to get some phases open and have substantial completion there by the spring. Federal Street, right outside our building, again, right outside the conference room there. It was miserable yesterday for us. Dan, I don't know if you were in the office here, but the jackhammering, shaking the building, the sound, the vibration was miserable. Glad it's not going on today. But the demo on Federal Street's going to be, it's a process. They're working section by section there. First starting from Commerce Street to Market, work on the demo, do some work there. Then Market Street to, I believe it's Hazel, is the next section. And then finally Hazel to Fifth Avenue is kind of your third section. But it's going to be tore up for a bit. We got to get through it. And it's going to be fantastic when it's done. Federal Street winding through like a snake now, or in the past, was really frustrating for everybody. It's going to make this all work a lot better, and hoping for substantial completion next fall. Again, a lot can go on. Don't hold anybody to that date of next fall. The last one, the simplest street on the whole Smart 2 network projects is Rain Avenue. No curb line. Curbs aren't moving on Rain, so it's more of a simple mill and fill of sorts. So next spring, you'll start to see some demo there, resurfacing throughout the summer, some restriping. We do have a striped bike path that's going on both sides of Rain. So that's some cool upgrades, some cool touches that are relatively cheap compared to moving the curbs, and a lot easier for the traffic. Just to show you guys off a couple pictures, here's two of Front Street. That left picture there, the gray part, really you see that wide separation. That's that wide multi-use path, especially with the amphitheater, Cabelli Center now. We expect that connection of Phelps down to Front Street over there to be highly walkable. So that's kind of what's going on. And the right picture, just kind of showing off a little bit more, seeing some rough spots. The other aspect of the project, kind of our third phase that we talked about for a while, is the autonomous shuttle technology. First, it's something that you guys are going to see kick off next spring, next summer. That's not tied to the Smart 2 network directly. Jim made a great comment this morning that sure, it's not that exact funding, but this was one of the examples of what we talked about over the years of what more is going to come because we got that federal grant. So this is a perfect example. So back to the Smart 2 network and the third phase there, the autonomous shuttle technology. This is kind of what we're looking at for a schedule. That RFP, looking for proposals. That process is kicking off now and needs to be completed by April of 2023. That's the whole process of developing that RFP, speaking with anybody who's got questions, receiving proposals, reviewing proposals, and then selecting, what company is going to provide the shuttle. Then comes the shuttle implementation. That takes a little bit longer. I'll talk into a little bit more detail as far as scheduling goes on this other portion. It should be relatively similar. But what that needs to do is we need to get through that process, get a shuttle built, get the mapping done, get a route figured out. That's the important part. And get that all ready for when all these streets are complete, we can get the shuttle implemented and on the road. So that other grant that I mentioned, it kind of spurred from our build grant is, through WRTA, is an AIM grant. Don't know what AIM stands for, but it is another grant that they received to be able to bring autonomous technology to the area. What they received is funding for a 1-year operation. So it kind of works perfectly for us as a kind of a test run for this shuttle, show off the technology and show off what it's going to be into the future. So the schedule for that is kind of right around the corner. You see some training and testing going on in June, and then full implementation with the launch in the summer of 2023. This shuttle, they wanted to run for 11 hours a day. They're still working out exactly what those timelines are. The battery life on that technology can last that whole length, but what they're thinking is to bring it in for an hour midday and kind of get a little bonus charge and then just make things easier in case something were to change in the afternoon. They're planning on Monday to Friday operation, and the map that I'll show you in a second here is about 15 to 20 minutes to make that loop. So the right side there is what that route is going to be for the same shuttle. The little box down at the bottom is WRTA Station now. So it kind of starts up there, heads up 5th, down Park Avenue, which is one of our newly constructed streets, makes a loop around the hospital, and then makes its way back down. You can see some of the details on the left side. One of the big hurdles that we saw over the last handful of years and kind of fears internally was these technologies, these autonomous shuttles, everything that we rode on, that we heard about, we talked about, very slow. Going up Fifth Avenue, you got a little bit of a slope there. We were so concerned that, are we going to have a shuttle going up Fifth Avenue 10 miles an hour? And then you're going to get complaints that are worse than the complaints now for the construction of the demo. So what works here, this company that was selected for the same shuttle, is they don't build a shuttle that's directly an autonomous shuttle. What they do is they start at step one, they build, and you can see some of the details there about the bus. They build the shuttle, which is manually driven. We can take it, we can bring it in here. WRTA can use that shuttle themselves. Then once that's complete, they now send it to a second company who now retrofits it with all the autonomous technology. So, we met last week with these companies and, they basically said, any vehicle you wanted, mine, yours, anybody in the room, give them your vehicle and all this technology can be implemented in 40 weeks is what they do. So with all of that said, this shuttle can now go faster. It has more capacity. Some of those smaller, fully autonomous ones that are built specifically for that can only hold 4 to 6 people. You see on this one, it's holding 12 plus 2 wheelchair locations on it as well. So a little bit of plus. They're going to start the technology going 25 miles per hour. The specific one that they're building for can actually run autonomous technology up to 45. But they're going to start at 25, kind of see how it works, and then probably shortly after, maybe a month or two in, make that determination and say, hey, let's bump it up to 35, kind of go with traffic a little bit better. But that's kind of what's going on with everything, construction downtown, autonomous technology. I'll leave this up here in case anybody has questions specifically to autonomous technology, autonomous shuttle. That's about it. Yes.
What's the green one there?
The green line was shown, they provided this map, that just connects the WRTA station to where we were located at the time, at WRTA's offices. So they're just showing that short connection to where
The offices are
the offices are, the garage. And I will add, with the autonomous technology, still the law that you need to have a driver in the vehicle. The bus can be operating fully autonomously, but you still need not only in the vehicle, but in the driver's seat. And the way that this technology works is within a tenth of a second, you can easily click over to manual override, control everything as it's just a regular vehicle. So really moving forward as far as the advanced technology goes.
Okay, thank you, Stephen. Okay, next Mark is going to update us on FTA Section 310 grant program.
Actually, I have some good news for Trumbull County. Under the Section 5310 program, and you've heard me talk about this program, it's enhanced mobility for seniors and individuals with disabilities. These funds are apportioned through the Federal Transit Administration every year, and the funds come from our bi-state urbanized area, and it's based on the U.S. Census. The funds that come into our particular Ohio PA area, which is identified as over 200,000 in population. Now, in order for these funds to be disseminated between the two states, there has to be a memorandum of understanding or agreement. ODOT and PennDOT have the designated recipient of those particular funds. And in order for them to disperse these funds, and there was a transitional period at some of the other meetings I was talking about the designation changes that took place in our particular area. Well, those MOU agreements, we have submitted some information to PennDOT and ODOT on how we used to do them when we had the designation WRTA and Trumbull County and Mercer County. So the MOUs are in place and there's some tweaking that needs to be done right now. But the total allocation that's coming into our urbanized area is $655,222. In previous allocation splits, our area, Ohio, got 85% of the total allocation and Pennsylvania got 15% of that. Now, those MOUs do not set a precedence on how funding splits are taking place. So they can change from year to year, and but that is also included in the MOU. So Ohio will receive $556,939. These are federal fiscal year 2022 funds, and the Trumbull County Commissioners were notified on September 29th because they submitted a grant application. If you recall, the grant applications for all state fundings have changed this year. They submitted a grant application for those funds and they were awarded $556,390, $556,934. So to do 5310, third party capital cost of contracting. So with that being said, the Trumbull County Commissioners were also notified that they must follow the second CFR 200 circular that Federal Transit Administration and ODOT follow. And with that circular, you have to have a lot of things in place. They also notified the Trumbull County Commissioners that if these things aren't in place, they can rescind that award allocation or reduce that award allocation. In previous years, and on our last general policy board, Artie came up here and was talking about some of the funding that they received for a sidewalk project under the 5310 program. City of Warren also received some funding under that program for a sidewalk project there, with the assistance also with Gary. We worked with Gary to help make that happen. those particular funds that were awarded at 100%. So this particular funding source right now is at 80-20. Unless ODOT decides to be gracious and gives us the additional 20% local match for that. Once Trumbull County Commissioners meet all the requirements that ODOT is asking for, then they could go ahead and prepare an RFP for that service. In my trips and travel to the Ohio Transit Conference, we have talked to some of the individuals from ODOT Office of Transit. There were some other requirements that they wanted, and we had asked for assistance so that their state auditors can assist the Trumbull County Commissioners with this particular type of funding and meeting the requirements for FTA. So we're going to be keeping close tabs on this and assisting our commissioners over there in Trumbull County and Mike Solomon to make sure that all of those requirements are being met. So far, Mike has submitted an extension for the information that they wanted, because all of us were in Columbus at that time, and I think their time frame was like a 2-week turnaround, and there's no way. So they are going to give them an extension, and so we'll be assisting them with that project. In addition to that, any of those projects that come out of 5310 program has to be in the coordinated plan. And that coordinated plan was finalized back in 2021. So if you're thinking about applying for 5310s in the near future, take a look at that plan. It's on our website. If you have any questions, give us a call. And I'll be right now to answer.
Any questions for Meredith? Okay, thank you, Meredith. Okay, now we're down to the executive director's report. Jeff.
Thank you, Gary. Thank the staff for the presentations. Excellent information as always. I got a couple things. I'm going to jump around a little bit, but I just want to make our communities aware of it. We talked last week. We had our General Policy Board meeting. I did announce that our EDA program that we were 4 for 4 last year in EDA grants. The last one to come in was the Port Authority's asking for a study at the airport, Crab Creek corridor, the city of Youngstown, Golden Triangle that we had between Howland, Warren, and Trumbull County and Trumbull Tourism. So we got over $4 million in grants from EDA, which is a great effort. Appreciate the effort and the teamwork that we had and the partnerships we had. That's why we're successful in those. I want to comment. I know that Kathy talked about Governor's Office of Appalachia and the Director, John Kerry. I'm going to put a plug in. John Kerry's coming next week. The Youngstown Warren Regional Chamber is holding a Mahoning Valley Public Policy Conference out at the Avalon. It's going to be most of the day on Wednesday, the 12th. Director Kerry's the keynote speaker. I'd encourage anybody that's taking a look at possibly putting in to come out and hear what he has to say and get an opportunity to meet him. We're very focused on attracting as much money as we can from those programs to our area, but strong support for our communities when the director's in town goes a long way. You get more information. I'll ask Eric possibly to put a link on our website to the Chamber's website, but if you go on the Chamber's website, you'll certainly be able to get an opportunity to register for that event. Again, a nominal fee, but it's great information. They're talking about a couple different things, obviously, at the recognize it's a public policy conference, but certainly having the director there speaking for an hour, and there might possibly be an opportunity for a roundtable afterwards. So take a look at that. I don't want to gloss over the effort by the group speaking at a national conference at AMPO. That conference is the end of the month, and I applaud Eric and Justin for being part of that, being recognized. So we joined AMPO, which is Metropolitan Planning Organization National Association. We're also part of NORC, which is National Association of Regional Councils, recognizing we're regional councils and MPOs. Two great organizations. We gather a lot of information. They have conferences once or twice a year. We're certainly attending them, and we presented those. I will tell you that when you talk about the communication plan that we've undertaken here at Eastgate, to get not our name out there, but the work that's being done so other communities can understand what's also available for them and hopefully get more participation in some of our programs and our funding opportunities. So when we talk about that, and then the CAB, I brought the CAB up at the national conference for NORC a couple of years ago, and people were asking me, what's that? They don't have a citizens advisory board. They don't have that type of public comment period. Public meetings, sure, they're out there, but having the opportunity to gather information from community members and the general public is vital to what we do as a planning organization. So good stuff there. We're also at the end of the month, Stephen's part of a group going down to Ohio Transportation Engineer Conference and speaking on our live zone and our efforts for electrification and autonomous vehicles and the all the other efforts around the Lordstown region. I look forward to that presentation. That's a great conference too, and many of this group priority attend that. I think they get upwards of 3,500 people to that conference. So looking forward, again, talking at a conference of that magnitude about projects that are happening in the Mahoning Valley. I did announce a general policy. We've been in the process of bringing on Tricia Diaby on. She's going to be a new planner for Eastgate to start here on Halloween, October 31st. We welcome her to our staff, and we've talked, I want to say for the last year, about adding additional expertise when it comes to planning. And this is a home run for us, and our community's been able to capture her and bring her to be part of our organization. So we're looking forward to welcoming her. Last week, we had a great kickoff for Lake to River engineering analysis. Director Mahalik from the Department of Development was here, representatives from Broadband, Ohio. Don't want to gloss over that effort to bring middle mile fiber backbone along State Route 11 from Lake Erie to the Ohio River. Really building even a stronger relationship with Columbiana County as they're part of the initiative too. And then we're going to be part of a bigger grant the state of Ohio or Broadband Ohio is putting in through NTIA. We're going to partner with them and ask for the construction dollars, $20 to $25 million as part of a grant. Bigger grant that they're putting in for 70. I believe the numbers ended up to be 90. Steve, is a $90 million grant through NTIA, which we would be able to partner with and possibly bring 20 to 25 million to construct that middle mile. Hats off to the group here that coordinated with the Broadband Ohio. Broadband Ohio is great partners with us, Department of Development, obviously. But we're the only agency that they partnered with in the state. Everything else is all Broadband Ohio and Eastgate paired up with them. So we're excited. We don't say it too loud because everybody's wondering how we pulled that off, but that's a win. I look forward to hearing good things from that. They put in an NTIA grant last year. Was told, I believe, it got kicked out because it wasn't asking for enough money. So they took care of that this year, asking for $90 million. So we'll see, and our fingers are crossed. I do want to, one other thing I want to mention, we've been undertaking a regional utility infrastructure study. Ref Tellis, a consultant out of Cincinnati, with representation from actually Boston, Massachusetts, and Denver, that's been on our calls, analyzing how we as a region work when it talks about water and wastewater. And we all know we're tripping over ourselves. Their study's almost complete. The final end of the study was interviewing different people that are connected with water, wastewater area. Those are going to be taking place in the next month and a half. They're going to wrap that up, and then they're going to be part of a team that's going to roll out what we want to say is a regional coalition to continue to build partnerships and people working together. It can't be something Eastgate leads. It has to be something that somebody expertise comes in. We'll certainly support it, be part of it. But it's an outside consultant that analyzes, has a great understanding of how to work better together and get communities to work better and share the resources and share the prosperity. We hope to stop stumbling over ourselves when it comes to water, wastewater in this region. Look forward to having more results on that, and we'll talk more of their findings in months to come. I think somebody did reference it, our annual meeting. We're going to get back to our annual meeting. We've had to take a hiatus from us like the world did because of the pandemic, but we're looking for a date somewhere in May. We used to have it in March. We're going to move it to May. We're going to roll it out. It's going to be part of a year-long celebration. January 1st starts the 50th anniversary of Eastgate, which is a huge accomplishment for an agency like this. And we're going to have different events during the year to celebrate and recognize Certainly the agency as it evolved over the last 50 years. And really the icing on the cake will be the annual meeting, and look forward to getting more information to everybody on that here in the near future. My last comment, I was trying to make more notes because I always think of something else as I'm sitting there. We did put in for the SS4A Safe Streets for All and Planning Initiative. I think we're looking for $300,000. It's a federal program, part of the IIJA, the Infrastructure Investment Jobs Act. We get planning dollars. We had the workshop here at the last TAC. Great input, great attendance. We took those comments, I captured them in an application, and we're looking for that planning dollars that really is going to attack safety issues that we have in our streets. It may not resonate because of high accidents or unfortunately severities with the crashes where you get fatalities also. These are other accident series on top of those that may be identified and look for solutions. So that's been submitted as a regional initiative for our 2 counties, and we look to hear from that here in the next couple of weeks, and we'll certainly report back to Biden's. But I do appreciate the people part of the call today that attended. We're kind of transforming into trying to get everybody back in the office here. Hopefully the COVID numbers stay low, and we're going to kind of have more of like a push on a membership drive. Not that we're adding members, but to get our members to come back in. Again, everybody make your own decisions when it comes to COVID. Hopefully we get on top of this, and we are on top of this as a nation, and we get back to where we need to be. But the in-person meetings make a world of difference. We start a little bit late because I think we're all in the hall talking, and then we all know when this ends, we're still in the room talking. That's where a lot of things get done. I always say the best 10 minutes of a meeting are the 5 before to 5 after. But we're going to do a little bit of an encouragement, trying to get our groups back to our general policy in person and our tax in person. Again, we'll maintain virtual because everybody make decisions for themselves and be safe. But we're asking the members, if possible, to come back to the office with us and meet in person. With that, I think I covered a little bit, and I appreciate a lot of the comments were already made, but I appreciate everybody's time today. We ran a little bit long, but there's a lot of good information, so thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Okay, Internal Policy Board resolution will be emailed out again. Please vote on that. Get your responses in quickly. Now we're down to open discussion. Does anybody have any items to bring before the committees?
I just have one quick thing. Spoke last year somewhat about the Ohio EPA, the Volkswagen settlement for fast chargers. Mahoning County was able to get 5 level 2 chargers through this funding, which some have been installed, some are in the process. But just this week, they announced the results for the DC fast charge applications that have been put in. They received 260 applications across the 25 eligible counties, totaling 80 million in requests. They had 8 million to work with. Within that, though, is 2 of the locations are in Ashtabula at 45 and 90, and they are at 7 and 90. One is in Trumbull County at 62 and 80. And 3 of the locations are actually in Mahoning County. One is going to be at Market near 76, one at Western Reserve and South. One is actually going to be going at Eastern Gateway's parking deck. Mahoning County was the only county that received more than 2 locations. And out of that 8 million total, it was 1.7 million went to the 3 counties in this area. Each of those locations, things have 4 parking spaces, except for Eastern Gateway is planning on doing 10 spaces. So it'll be give you a little bit more information coming in the newsletter and a map showing where everything's at coming out in the newsletter article.
Thank you, Chris. Anybody else have anything for the committee? Okay, our next TAC meeting is November 3rd. Put that on your calendars, and then we're not voting on this. So I guess we're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.